I watched my best friend's face get ripped clean off his skull 3 feet in front of me, and the creature that did it looked me dead in the eyes before it vanished into the corn. That was 48 hours ago, and I'm writing this because nobody believes me. The police think I murdered him, and I know that thing is coming back tonight. My name is Michael Brennan. I'm 40 years old, a regional sales manager for agricultural equipment, divorced, no kids. I've lived in Nebraska my whole life. I'm not crazy. I don't do drugs. I barely drink anymore. I'm the most boring, stable, ordinary person you could meet. And I'm telling you that something impossible happened on County Road 27, just outside Red Hollow, and I'm probably going to die because of it. It started Tuesday night. My buddy Jake Thurston called me around 7 in the evening. Jake and I went to high school together, stayed friends through the years despite living 2 hours apart. He worked as a crop inspector and knew every back road and cornfield in 5 counties. He sounded excited on the phone. "Mike, you gotta come out here. I'm on County Road 27, about 3 miles past the Red Hollow turnoff. I'm telling you, man, I found something." "Found what?" I asked, already grabbing my keys. Jake wasn't one for dramatics. "I can't explain it over the phone, just trust me. Bring your camera." I should have asked more questions. I should have said no. But Jake's voice had this edge to it, this genuine urgency that made me curious. So I got into my truck and drove. County Road 27 is one of those gravel roads that cuts straight through endless cornfields. In late October, the corn was still standing, brown and dead, waiting for harvest. The sun was setting when I turned onto the road, painting everything in dark orange and deep shadow. My truck kicked out dust that hung in the still air behind me. I found Jake's pickup pulled off on the shoulder, hazards blinking. He was standing at the edge of the cornfield, staring into the rows, his back to me. I parked behind him and got out. "Jake?" He turned and his face was pale. "Mike, Jesus, I'm glad you're here. Look at this." He led me about 20 feet into the corn. The stalks were pushed aside, broken, creating a narrow path. And there, in a small clearing, was something I still can't fully explain. The ground was torn up, deep gouges in the earth like something had been digging. But it wasn't the digging that made my stomach drop. It was what was scattered around the disturbed soil. Pieces of animals. A deer's hindquarter, still fresh, flies buzzing around it. What looked like the remains of a coyote, its rib cage cracked open. And bones, dozens of bones, some bleached white, others newer, arranged in patterns that seemed almost deliberate. "What the hell is this?" I whispered. "I don't know," Jake said. "I was doing a field survey this afternoon and noticed vultures circling. Found this about 2 hours ago. Mike, look at the gouges in the ground. Look at the spacing. Whatever made those marks had claws the size of my hand." He knelt down, pointing. The claw marks were deep, carved into the hard Nebraska soil. 4 parallel grooves, impossibly large. "Could be a bear," I suggested, though my voice sounded uncertain even to me. "We don't have bears here, and no bear kills like this. Look at how the bones are arranged. It's like something is making a nest or a feeding ground." The sun was almost gone now. The corn around us rustled in a breeze I couldn't feel. "We should call someone," I said. "Fish and wildlife, maybe." Jake nodded, pulling out his phone. "No signal. We're in a dead zone out here. We'll have to drive back to..." The smell hit us then. Thick, rotten, like a dead animal left in the sun for days mixed with something else, something sharp and wrong. Jake's eyes met mine. "Mike, we need to go, now." We turned back toward the path we'd made through the corn. That's when we heard it, a sound from deeper in the field. Not quite a growl, not quite a breath, but something in between, low and rattling, coming from something large. We ran, I'm not ashamed to say it. We crashed through those corn stalks like our lives depended on it, which they did. Behind us, the sound changed. It became movement, heavy and fast, stalks snapping, something big keeping pace with us. We burst out onto the road. My truck was 30 feet away. Jake's was closer. He sprinted for it, and I was right behind him. We were 10 feet from his pickup when it came out of the corn. I can't describe it properly. My brain won't let me remember it all clearly, like my mind is protecting itself. It was massive, easily 7 feet tall, moving on 2 legs but hunched forward. Its body was covered in matted black fur that seemed to absorb the dying light. The head was wrong, too elongated, with a snout full of teeth that were too large, too many. But it was the eyes that I remember most clearly. Yellow, glowing in the dusk, and intelligent. So terribly intelligent. Jake reached his truck first. He had his keys in his hand, was reaching for the door handle. The creature covered the distance between us in 3 impossibly long strides. I saw it raise one massive arm, claws catching the last light of day. What happened next took maybe 2 seconds, but I see it every time I close my eyes. The creature's claws caught Jake across the face. I heard the sound of tearing, saw the spray of dark blood, watched Jake's body spin and crumple. The creature stood over him for just a moment, its chest heaving, those yellow eyes finding me. I froze, completely, utterly frozen. The creature's lips pulled back in what might have been a snarl or might have been something worse. Then it turned, grabbed Jake's body in its jaws like a dog with a toy, and dragged him back into the corn. The whole thing was silent except for the rustling of stalks and a wet, dragging sound. I don't remember getting in my truck. I don't remember driving. But I found myself back in Red Hollow, parked outside the sheriff's office, shaking so hard I could barely walk. Sheriff Tom Dawes listened to my story with increasing skepticism. By the time I finished, he was leaning back in his chair, arms crossed. So you're telling me a monster came out of the corn and killed Jake Thurston? I know how it sounds. You know how it sounds. Mike, I've known you for 20 years. You and Jake have been friends forever. You telling me you didn't have some kind of fight? Maybe things got heated? What? No, Tom, you have to send someone out there. Jake's body. We'll send a deputy out at first light. Meanwhile, I need you to stay in town. Don't leave Red Hollow. You understand me? I understood perfectly. He thought I'd killed Jake. Maybe in a blind rage, maybe in some accident I was covering up with an insane story. I left the sheriff's office knowing I was a suspect. I went home to my small rental house on the edge of town. I couldn't sleep. Every sound outside made me jump. I kept seeing those yellow eyes, kept hearing the sound of Jake's face being torn away. Around 3 in the morning, I heard scratching at my back door. Soft at first, then harder. 4 long scrapes against wood. I grabbed a kitchen knife and called the sheriff's office. But before anyone answered, the scratching stopped. When I finally worked up the courage to look outside, I found 4 deep gouges in my door, wood splintered, splinters scattered on my back porch. The deputy who came out said it was probably raccoons. Wednesday passed in a blur. The sheriff's office confirmed they had found Jake's truck, but no body. They found blood, lots of it, and the disturbed site we discovered, but no Jake. They also found my tire tracks, my boot prints, and my fingerprints on Jake's truck door. The evidence pointed to me. By Wednesday night, I was a person of interest in a missing person investigation. The whole town was talking. I couldn't go to the grocery store without people staring. Old friends crossed the street to avoid me. That night, I heard it howling. Not like a wolf or a coyote, but something deeper, more resonant. It echoed across the empty fields, seeming to come from everywhere at once. My neighbors heard it too, Miss Chen next door said it sounded like the devil himself. I knew it was looking for me. Thursday morning, I decided I had to go back. If Jake's body was out there, if there was any evidence of what really happened, I needed to find it. The sheriff wasn't going to believe me without proof, and that thing had taken my best friend. I loaded my truck with everything I could think of. Flashlights, my hunting rifle, my camera, rope, first aid kit. I felt ridiculous, like I was preparing for war against something that shouldn't exist. But those gouges on my door were real. The memory of Jake's death was real. I drove out to County Road 27 just before noon. The sky was overcast, threatening rain. The cornfields looked different in daylight, less ominous, but somehow more oppressive in their endless uniformity. I found the spot where we'd parked 2 nights before. Yellow police tape marked the area. I ducked under the tape and followed the path back into the corn. The site was still there, the disturbed earth, the bones. But there was more now. Drag marks leading deeper into the field, and dark stains on the dry corn stalks that could only be blood. I followed the trail with my rifle raised, every nerve on fire. The corn was so dense here, that I could barely see 3 feet in any direction. The stalks closed in behind me, cutting off the sound from the road. I was in a maze of dead plants, following a blood trail left by something that shouldn't exist. I found Jake about 100 yards in. What was left of him, anyway. The creature had dragged him to another clearing, larger than the first. Jake's body was torn apart, scattered. I'm not going to describe what I saw. I can't, but I took pictures. My hands were shaking so badly, I'm surprised any of them were in focus. But I took pictures of everything. Proof that this wasn't a murder, that no human could have done this. I was backing away, trying to get back to the path, when I heard movement behind me. I spun around, rifle up, and there it was. In daylight, it was somehow worse. I could see details my mind had mercifully blurred at dusk. The black fur was matted with blood and filth. Its body was muscular, but wrong. Proportions that didn't match any animal I knew. The hands, if you could call them that, were massive, with those terrible claws. But it was the face that froze me. It looked almost human. Buried under the fur, in the elongated snout, in the teeth, there was something recognizably human in the structure of the skull, in the way the eyes sat, like someone had taken a person and twisted them into this nightmare shape. We stared at each other for what felt like an eternity. My finger was on the trigger, but I couldn't move. Those yellow eyes held me pinned like an insect. Then it did something that made my blood turn to ice. It opened its mouth, and a sound came out. Not a growl, not a howl, a word, mangled, barely recognizable, pushed through a throat not made for human speech, but a word nonetheless. Meek! It knew my name. I fired. The rifle kicked against my shoulder, the shot impossibly loud in the enclosed space. I saw blood spray from the creature's shoulder, saw it stagger back, and then it roared. A sound of pure rage that vibrated in my chest. I ran. I fired twice more over my shoulder, not aiming, just trying to slow it down. Behind me, I could hear it crashing through the corn, snarling, closing the distance. I burst out onto the road, sprinted for my truck, fumbled with the door. The creature came out of the corn just as I got the engine started. I floored it, gravel spraying. In my rearview mirror, I saw it standing in the middle of the road, watching me go, black blood streaming from its shoulder. I drove straight back to the sheriff's office. Sheriff Dawes took one look at me and my 1,000-yard stare and sat me down. I showed him the pictures on my camera. He went pale. Jesus Christ, Mike, what did this? I told you there's something out there. It killed Jake, and it knows my name, Tom. It spoke my name. He studied the photos for a long time, then he made some calls. Within an hour, his office was filled with deputies. The state police were on their way, and someone was contacting Fish and Wildlife about sending a team with tranquilizers and tracking equipment. But I knew it wouldn't matter. That thing was too smart, and it wanted me specifically. When it spoke my name, I heard something in its voice. Recognition. Purpose. Thursday night, they put me up in a motel in Red Hollow with a deputy stationed outside. They said it was for my protection, but I knew they were still watching me. Around midnight, the power went out. The whole block, just gone dark. I heard the deputy outside yell once, then silence. I barricaded the door with the dresser and waited in the dark, rifle in my hands. I could hear something outside, moving around the motel, testing doors, scratching at windows. The other guests were screaming. Someone was crying. Then I heard it at my door. Not scratching, knocking, 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Mick. This voice was clearer now, more practiced. Lead me in. I didn't answer. I backed into the corner farthest from the door, rifle aimed, and waited. The door shook as something massive hit it once, twice. The dresser scraped across the floor. Wood began to splinter. Then the lights came back on. The thing outside made a sound, frustrated, angry. I heard it run, heavy footfalls fading into the distance. When deputies finally came to check on me, they found their colleague unconscious. 4 deep claw marks across his chest. He was alive, but barely. It's Friday night now. They've moved me to the sheriff's office, the most secure building in town. There are 6 armed deputies here. The state police are setting up a perimeter. Fish and Wildlife is bringing in specialists. None of it will matter. I know what's coming. That thing has been hunting me specifically since Tuesday night. It's intelligent, patient, and relentless. And I'm starting to understand why. I found something in Jake's truck that the police missed. His field survey notebook. The last entry, dated Tuesday, described finding unusual tracks, canine but too large, bipedal gait, near an old farmstead 3 miles from where we found the kill site. He'd written an address. I looked it up. The farmstead belonged to the Whitmore family. They disappeared in October 1987, 38 years ago. All 5 of them, just gone. The case was never solved. And I remember my grandfather talking about it when I was a kid. He said old man Whitmore had been acting strange before they vanished. Aggressive, violent. Said his eyes had changed color. I think I know what happened to the Whitmores. I think whatever that thing is, it was human once. Maybe it was Thomas Whitmore himself, changed by something we don't understand. And I think it's been out there in those cornfields for almost 4 decades, hunting, feeding, slowly losing whatever humanity it had left. But why me? Why Jake? We were just in the wrong place, saw something we shouldn't have. Unless Jake's notebook had one more entry, a name, circled multiple times. Brennan, my family name, and next to it a date from 1987, October 23rd, the night the Whitmores disappeared. My grandfather was the sheriff in 1987. He led the investigation. And according to his old case files, which I found archived at the library today, he was the last person to see Thomas Whitmore alive. That thing remembers. It knows my family name. It's not just hunting me because I witnessed what it did to Jake. It's hunting me because of something my grandfather did 38 years ago. I can hear something outside now. The deputies are shouting. Gunfire, screaming, the lights are flickering. I'm not going to make it through tonight. I know that now. I'm writing this and I'm going to leave it here, along with my camera and Jake's notebook. Maybe someone will find it. Maybe they'll finally hunt that thing down. But I don't think they will. It's too smart. It's been surviving out there for decades and it's not going to stop. If you're reading this, stay away from County Road 27. Stay away from Red Hollow. And if you ever hear something howling in the cornfields at night, something that doesn't sound quite like a wolf, don't go looking for it, because it might already be looking for you. The door just buckled. I can see claws coming through the wood. Those yellow eyes are staring at me through the gap. It's smiling, if that word applies to something with a face like that. It's here. God help me, it's